Good morning. I don't know why I'm so fascinated by coffee in the morning. That was the back of the card. I held it backwards. All right, here's the paint. Oh my God. No editing. I won't edit out that mistake. But here's the card we're going to paint today. The greeting card. A cup of coffee on a picnic table in the woods, probably at a campsite. I'm not in the woods, but I do have my cup of coffee with my NYC label. It's almost gone. It's decaf, by the way, decaf. Anyway, I want to show you how I painted this. I got a poem from Robert Frost and another poem by a lady named Emily, whose name, I don't know her last name, but I found it on one of those poetry sites. So Emily, whoever you are, thank you for that poem. It's a perfect poem for this picture. It's called Camping Sunrise. So I have that one, and I have one from Robert Frost called A Prayer in Spring. But right now, how about you and I get out the paintbrushes and paint something? You don't have to paint this. This is what I'm painting. You paint your own thing. You can paint this if you want. All right, let's get going. The elusive morning cup of coffee. That's what I want right here. The top of the cup. And then the inside where you can see the coffee. And let's make it. Last time I did a coffee cup, I did more like a mug. I think this time I'll do more like a feminine cup. Does that make sense? A feminine cup? I don't know. More like a bowl. How about that? The masculine cup is, I call like this a masculine cup. I can't tip it too much, otherwise I'll spill my coffee. But you know what I mean, the ones that are straight up and down. I'll do this bowl kind of cup here. The thing about a cup. You know, I think I think about coffee too much. I think I do. I think about painting cups of coffee. I don't know what it is. I think I could guess, though. I'm going to guess. I'm going to try to analyze my own self. I think it has to do with camping. It has nothing to do with the coffee and everything to do with the camping. Because it's kind of what I remember. I'm reluctant to finish the sentence because I feel like I'm admitting that I don't go camping anymore. Well, it's true, I don't go camping anymore. But I could, and actually I have gone camping in recent years, you know. But anyway, the one thing I loved about camping was the mornings. I'm an early riser. I don't sleep late usually. Even if I go to bed late, I don't sleep late. And so when I was camping, everybody else would be sleeping. Everybody in the campground, except for me. I'd be up. It wouldn't even be sunrise. It wouldn't even be daylight. Nothing. It's still like nighttime. But I would make a cup of coffee. And I hate to tell you this, but I smoked cigars. I've shared that with you before. But I liked it back then. Well, I would still like it, but you know, I have to stop. I had to stop. I have stopped. But it was my one little vice, was cigars and coffee. Cigars and coffee in the morning with nobody really around. Nobody was around. I'd sit at the picnic table and just kind of think about things. For a while there, I would bring a radio camping, but then later on I stopped doing that because I kind of just wanted to listen to the sound of nature, I guess you might say. So, just trying to a lot of this is going to be accomplished with the paint. I don't really have to sketch every little piece of this, but just trying to make sure I don't forget to put the shadows and all that in there. There's going to be a lot of little light areas. And then the shadow of the saucer. Saucer. I would never use a saucer. That was not my cup of tea. How you like that for a spin of a phrase? A saucer on a cup of coffee was not my cup of tea. Well, that sounds like a rock and roll song or something. I don't know. How does that look? It looks so great. I hate to make the coffee cup so... But no, it's a picture. It's a story about a coffee cup. Okay. So now the coffee cup would be sitting... Where do you think it's sitting? On a picnic table. Oh my gosh. That's another thing I love. I love picnic tables. You know why? Same reason. Because they remind me of being outdoors. They remind me of being camping. They remind me of waking up early in the morning and enjoying the coffee and the cigar. You know, people always wonder what heaven is like. So do I. I mean, it's hard to know. Is that, you know, not, and the reason I'm thinking about that is because I'm wondering if God will allow us to have cigars and coffee up in heaven. Maybe cigars won't be such a bad thing in heaven. Maybe you can still have your cigar. Maybe you can still have your cake and eat it too. All right. But now back here, so there's the coffee and the shadow of the cup, and just kind of, we want the sun to be right there. That's going to be our spot for our sun. And we're going to have kind of this wooded area here. And there's a lake right there. And I guess that's the whole painting. Now we can start painting the painting. And you know what? I have coffee. It's decaf, by the way. I know what you're saying. Some people say, why bother? Why? It's not too bad. I had decaf yesterday from McDonald's. All right, let's get some water. Let's get some sunny morning sky here. Just gonna brush in a little bit of orange here. I'll take some blue and put it over here. Oh, it didn't come out too good. There we go. There's the blue. A little bit of blue, a little bit of orange. A little bit of warm and cold colors. Warm and cool. We'll kind of make them come together. So the sun is going to be right there, so let's keep that white right there. There's our sun and our double-toned sky, our two-toned sky. And there it is. There's our two-toned sky. Now let's do the same thing in the water. Get the water all two-toned. Keep a lot of this wet. It's kind of easy to do this kind of a reflective water. Just take the water from the watercolor and spread it around. Let me get some of that blue on this side. Whoa, it's a little deep. It's okay, I can fix it. No problem. Put some of that back in the sky. Let's get some down here on the inside of the cup handle. Today is Saturday. Not only is it Saturday, but it's the 29th day of June. I wanted to tell you something. That if you're going to paint cards for the holidays, for Christmas, you kind of have to start now. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow would be my first day of doing Christmas cards. It's a long haul. Christmas cards take a long time to do. No, I don't mean the individual cards. I mean the because you have to do so many of them, you know. So I'm going to the church I go to has an arts and crafts show coming up. I think it's in November. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's September. I'm not really sure. But I'm going to call them and ask them. Or maybe I'll see them tomorrow. I forgot tomorrow's Sunday. I'll ask them if they are doing that arts thing, arts and crafts thing. If they are, it's always a fundraiser. Everything at the church usually is a fundraiser of some sort. So I was thinking, I have a lot of cards that I haven't sent to anybody. Maybe I will donate them to the church. What do you think about that idea? You don't care? What? Did I hear you say you don't care? Okay. I understand. I have a poem today, by the way, by Robert Frost. And it's not about summer or coffee. It's called A Prayer to Spring. So I want to get this mostly laid out and then I'll read it to you. And hopefully it adds to the experience of the painting of the card. Let's see, that's all wet there, that's all wet there. Okay, I can add a little bit of darkness. Let's see, what color do I have here? Yeah, let me add a little bit of darkness over here, just to start the process of doing that background area. I don't know if I'm going to keep that brown like that or not, but I want to get it started anyway. That's very wet right there, so I got to let that dry. Gonna keep that. It's still pretty wet right there. Still pretty wet everywhere. Okay. Let me add some darkness to the cup too. Just get that cup a little bit dark in the shaded areas here. I'm purposely using brown so I can come back and maybe use a different color. I'm not really sure. But it's coffee, so it's brown. Do you put cream in your coffee? I always do. I always put a little bit of cream. It's kind of the way I like it. When I first started drinking coffee. Well, when I first started drinking coffee, it was because I was driving a lot and driving late at night. And I always had heard that coffee would help keep you awake. I cannot tell you that that's true. My experience is that coffee did not keep me awake, but I would try it as a solution to driving so long. I used to drive so many hours. But anyway, when I first started drinking coffee, I would sweeten it a lot with sugar. I don't know, maybe I've heard a lot of people do that when they first start. I would put a lot of sugar in there, and then cream. I put sugar and cream. So it's like basically I wasn't even drinking coffee. I was drinking sugar and cream with a little coffee. I was adding a little bit of coffee to my sugar and cream. So anyway, I would. That's how I started out, and then later on, I don't know why I stopped with the sugar, but I did. Probably because it was sugar, because I was taking in too much sugar. That's probably the reason. And so I just kept the cream, and I've never gone back. Although yesterday when I went to McDonald's, I got a decaf. See, now I got to do decaf because the doctor told me I should do decaf. I don't want to get into it. It's got something to do with your heart. But anyway, so I had decaf yesterday at McDonald's, which wasn't too bad. But the young lady who I ordered it from must not have heard me say cream. So she gave me black coffee. It was okay. It wasn't too bad. Can live with it, right? I went to McDonald's yesterday. I was helping Robin's mom because Robin went to Texas for a little while, and Robin's mom is 91, and so she doesn't drive. She just stopped driving not too long ago, but she asked me if I would drive her to the store, so I did, of course. And she wanted to go to McDonald's. I think she wanted to treat me, to be honest with you. I think she did it for me, even though I was okay without going to McDonald's. But it was nice to go back there. I hadn't been there in a while. I never disliked their food. I was always pretty good with it. But I got one of those what do you call those things in the morning? Egg McMuffin? I got one of those. All right, there's our shadow. Now that's dry enough. I can probably put that line there. The line in the table. The little groove. The little slat between the boards and the wooden picnic table. There we go. A couple of little lines here from the wood. We'll come back to that. Make the coffee even darker. Right now that's starting to dry there. I'm going to leave that like that. I have the poem I want to read to you from Robert Frost. Robert Frost says, well, let me tell you what the poem says. The poem is called A Prayer in Spring. Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away, as the uncertain harvest keep us here, all simply in the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night, and make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating round the perfect trees. and make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard, the meteor that thrusts in with needle bill, and off a blossom in midair stands still. For this is love, and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what far ends he will, but which it only needs that we fulfill. Well, that'll make you think, right? That made me think. I was watching a video on whales, and they are so big and so magnificent, and they're living their lives underwater, unseen by us for the most part. And I wondered about them. I wondered what they think. Surely they must think something. I wonder what goes on in their world. I wonder if they fear anything. I wonder if they even know what's above the water, what's out on the surface. So what does that have to do with Robert Frost's poem? What am I talking about here? I guess I'm just talking about how most of God's creation exists, like Robert Frost said, to sanctify what far ends he will, but which it only needs that we fulfill. That line right there. It only needs that we fulfill. So what is the need that we fulfill? And what is the need that anything in creation fulfills other than to be alive? What do you think? I think to be alive. That's the main thing. God made you to live. So just live. Maybe it's not as hard as we make it seem. Maybe we make life seem harder than it really is. What do you think about that? Sometimes one line from a poem will make me think, or one line from a song. I used to like listening to songs because of the words. I still do, but I don't listen to many anymore. It was my real passion was music. It sometimes still is. Sometimes I will hear music and it will just mesmerize me. It will just make me stop and kind of goes like a deer in headlights, I guess. You know, that look. That look in the distance. Sometimes children do that. Their eyes will just glaze over and they'll just stop and they'll look in the distance. I always wonder what's going on there. What's going on? Okay, now we can start building this tree line here. That's still a little bit wet right there, so I'm going to have to hold off on that a little bit longer. But I can start over here. This part's dry. And we can add a little bit more depth to this coffee, a little bit more darkness to it. going to try to do a trick with the steam from the coffee. I hope it works. The trick is to use the wet brush and to kind of lift the paint so it creates that effect of steam. Yes. I do have another poem, by the way, but I don't know who to credit it to. All it says is Emily. So I have a poem by somebody named Emily. I think it might be a modern poet, like somebody who just posted her work online. So I'll read that one to you. I like that one because it's about camping. That's kind of where my mind goes with pictures like this. Okay, let's get some of these trees in here. Let's see if this works. There we go, way up there. And of course they have to be reflected in the water. Think about how the world is in the morning. Isn't it interesting how some animals are nocturnal? They only come out at night. When I did the picture of the owl not too long ago, which I give myself a C on that one. I didn't like it a whole lot, but it was okay. Like I always tell you, I'm a student. I'm not a teacher. I'm a student. We're students together. You might be a teacher, but I have a hard time believing that I know more than you. I don't think I do. But what was I saying? Oh, with the owl that I painted, it reminded me of a time when my cat. I had a cat back in those days, and I had to go to work early in the morning, and I thought I saw my cat sitting on the edge of the road. I'm purposely making this one orange, by the way, because I want it to be getting the light from the tree. I'm from the tree, from the sun. Yeah, I thought I saw my cat on the side of the road. It's just sitting there. And I rolled down the window. I said, "What are you doing out here?" And when I rolled down the window, I could see that it was not my cat. It was an owl sitting there. Isn't that incredible? It was the same kind of silhouette as my cat. You know, it had that same body shape. I remember that. It was kind of something else. And I think that was before we had cell phones. I'm not really sure how far back that was. But if it was, I don't think the first cell phones had cameras in them, right? So I didn't have if I had a cell phone, I probably didn't have a camera in my phone. Right? The first cell phones didn't have cameras, did they? I can't even remember. I'm not even sure. Alright, let's make this. See, this is going to help with the contrast here. The reflection of the trees will help with the contrast of the cup. We want this to come down here. Remember, everything close to the sunlight's got a little bit dark, a little bit lighter color to it. Let's make all these reflections here. something about the morning that I like. And the evening. Oh, let's be honest, there's something about every time of day. Maybe I like the morning because of the solitude. I mean, I like being with other people, but sometimes I like being alone in the morning. Is that look on the right there? Can you see what that is? And there's that bright, bright, bright sun. So let's take some of this yellow and create some trees over here. Get that yellow back to being. I want it to be more orange, I think. Get that yellow in there. Just keep this yellow and let's see if we can thin it out a lot. Get these reflections in the water. Yeah, I like the way that looks right there. That looks pretty cool. All right, now let's get some more darker colors over here. That big tall tree right here. Big tree with a wide base. A wide base. In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Remember that song by James Taylor? Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? And ain't it just like a friend of mine? Something. Do you remember that song? In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. That's where I'm going right now in my mind. I'm going to Carolina. I like some of this area over here too. It's got that little bit of a misty look to it. Isn't that cool? See? I know what it is. It's because these are cheap paints. But there's something to be said for using cheap paints. I'm telling you. There's something to be said. Sometimes it just works out nice. Well, there's our background. Now we gotta get this foreground a little bit better. Let's make this foreground a lot better. Or a cup of coffee. our morning cup of coffee. I told her to have another poem. Let me read the other poem to you. Let me get that other one out here. Let's get this shadowed real dark here. I think it's almost done. Just a nice cup of coffee in the morning. Sometimes I drink coffee in the evening, but mostly it's a morning thing. It's a habit. It's a habit I like. And except for the doctor telling me not to do caffeinated coffee. Actually, what he said was, don't do a lot of it. So, he didn't tell me not to drink caffeine. He just told me don't do a lot of it. So, for whatever that's worth. Well, it's worth something because I want to stick around. I have a grandson, and I want to see him grow up. I want to see him graduate. Hope I make it there. And you want to see them. All of life's moments. You want to see them go through those moments. All right, let me read that other poem to you by Emily. And I think I just need to add some darkness here, maybe a little bit over there. But here's the other poem. It's called Camping Sunrise by Emily. No last name. In the quiet hush of dawn, the campfire's embers glowing, we sit with mugs of coffee warm while morning light is growing. The forest wakes and whispers soft, with bird song on the breeze, and sunlight filters through the pines, dancing on the leaves. The air is crisp, the world is still, a moment pure and bright. We sip our coffee, feel the warmth, embrace the dawning light. The worries of the world dissolve in nature's sweet embrace. Here in the woods, at break of day, we find our sacred space. Well, that works perfectly with today's painting. What do you think about that, huh? Let me just make this area a little bit darker over here. Make this a little bit darker. Only the reason I want it dark is because I want this light that's coming down here to be a little bit more exaggerated, I think. That's pretty cool. I like the way that came out. Alright, let me see. Over here I'll do the same thing. Alright, now let's try that one last thing that I hope I don't ruin the painting. The morning cup of coffee. Just a little more darkness here. A little more of those vertical or horizontal lines. All right, let's try that trick. Let's get a clean brush, get it wet, and let's hope I don't ruin it now. Get some steam coming up from that coffee. Is it working? I'm a little bit nervous about this. It's sort of working. Maybe I just don't need to do too much of it, just a little bit. What do you think? Is it working? You know what? I'm just gonna leave it like that. I think that's enough. I say that and then I keep doing it. You see? I always do that. I always say that's enough and then I keep picking at it. Well, there's our coffee. I think it's steaming. Let me just brush the back of the card around. Get those blotches less blotchy. Just get it all wet and spread it out. There we go. And it's a much different color than the front of the card, but that's okay. That's okay, because it's going to be folded. It'll be behind it. All right, I think we're done. It's kind of very watercolor-y, which is perfect. Let me turn off the camera so I can dry it, and I'm going to fold it, and I'll be right back. Well, there we are. There's our morning cup of coffee at the campground. Let me fold it. Right there on that line. Well, there we are. Hey, that's not too bad. Definitely has that watercolor look to it. Sometimes I think my mistake is I don't stop soon enough so it doesn't look watercolory, but this one looks watercolory. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. All right, kids. Hey, thank you for watching, for subscribing, for leaving your nice comments. I tried to answer everything. Hopefully I'm answering your questions and comments. And have a good day. All right, bye.